Hey guys, Gav321 here. This is our 2020 Tesla Model Y Performance that we've had for about 14 months now, and my dad has put nearly 16,000 miles on the car. I'm going to go over all the wear and tear that's occurred over those 16,000 miles and what kind of things we missed out on by being early adopters of the Model Y. And to start out with, I'm just going to do a quick overview of the car and all the good things that we like about it and why we picked it in the first place.
Looks like you lost another one.
So having the ability to charge at home using this installed charger is super nice, so you don't have to go to the gas station ever, and you can just charge when you get home and it'll automatically take advantage of those off-peak electricity rates instead of having to go out to a charger every time. So since electric cars don't need a gas tank that fills up the bottom rear of the car, you can have a lot more storage in the back. Right here we've got the flip up that allows for a super deep pocket, and then there's also some pockets over here if you need to store some bags that can fit back there. And the Model Y also has the ability to fold down the rear row seats from the back so you can have a flat load floor and be able to carry a ton of stuff, which my dad has been using over this time. And of course, not having an engine up front means you get a frunk to allow for any little things you need to store. Of course, it's a little bit annoying because the car doesn't have a latch on the outside, so you're going to have to use your phone or on the screen to open it. And it's also not power, so when you close it, you have to let it down and press like that, which can be a little annoying if you like to just keep your paint nice and clean. But extra storage is extra storage. If you're on a road trip and you really need the storage, it doesn't really matter if you have to close it like that. It's going to give you that extra bit. And then, of course, you've got the white interior. That was one thing you really wanted. And, of course, you've also got the panoramic glass roof. That's super nice for the interior. And of course, one of the main reasons that people buy Teslas is for the tech. The 15-inch screen allows you to have configurable menus and go into all your settings and have a large map at the same time. The screen also allows you to view your cameras when you're in reverse. As you can see here, we've got the backup camera that's super big and high resolution, and then we've got each side cameras here. And then we've got this array here that allows you to see how close you are to different objects. It's not a camera view, but at least you can see the distance in inches when you get too close to things around the car. Additionally, with the screen, we can go into the Sentry Mode viewer. I'm sure you guys have heard of Sentry Mode at this point, but it's basically a security system that will record videos whenever someone gets close to the car in a public area, and you can then go back and view it. So you can see here when you're in Sentry Mode, you can watch it from all angles. So this is the front camera, this is the left camera, this is the right camera, and that's the rear camera. So if anyone gets too close to the car, it'll pull it up and you'll be able to see it later on just in case someone were to hit you in a parking lot. This feature is also useful in an accident to make sure whoever's truly liable is caught, because it'll film everything within 10 minutes if you get into an accident. And then, of course, with the Tesla screen, we've got the entertainment, so we've got all the different games they've had. They've really expanded the amount of games, as you can see here, and then the theater stuff, and then also the toy box, which a lot of people like. We got all the different fun modes you can go into. And then also you've got your AC on the screen with the cool moving the air currents around thing that they're going to have on all their cars now. And then you've also got dog mode, which you've used many times, where we have our dog in the car and we can leave him in the parking lot and it'll display on the screen that the dog's in the car and it'll keep the AC on. And then you've got your seat heater menu right here as well. Let's go for a drive. Alright, so now that we're here on the road, I can show all the different driving dynamics. So I'm in comfort steering right now, and it's still pretty tight, like it still kind of feels sporty, but Sport is much heavier, and it's really heavy, it's really tight. As you can see on our track video, we really put this to the test, and with the low center of gravity in the Model Y, it really helps with track performance and handling. It makes it feel like more of a a sports car, but it allows you to keep the practicality. And then one really nice thing about electric cars here is regenerative braking. So as you can see here, I let off and it'll take me all the way to a complete stop at this roundabout. And I'll go ahead and go. So with one pedal driving, I can use my pedal. I don't have to ever touch the brake because I can slowly modulate the gas or the accelerator to either coast, or I can fully let off and it engages full regen. And it allows you to also save your brakes. And then of course the car will hold like this when you're waiting at a stop. No need to touch on the brake. There is a creep mode that you can enable, but we have that disabled. It's much easier, you just have to get used to it. It's where it simulates the automatic transmission creep in a gas car. And of course in sport mode we gotta test the 0 to 60 here on the road. So complete stop, see on the car, and then all you have to do is mash the gas. While you're driving if you want to just sort of see who's around you easier if you're in a really busy traffic situation. And of course you can see the full self-driving visualization with the stop signs and all the lanes and everything, which helps you navigate the road and just kind of shows you the cool tech that's in the car. Alright, and then we're not really on a highway, we're just sort of on a back road here, but autopilot will still work with the double tap of this. You do not have full self-driving, but autopilot still works great just for commuting on the highway. There's no navigate on autopilot with this, but you sort of keep your hands off the wheel. Of course, you have to apply steering every once in a while when that pulls up, but it's super nice for road trips, and you can try to trick the steering wheel, although it's not really recommended. Unsafe because it's not full autopilot, it's just lane keeping assist, and it happens to be really easy to work on any road pretty much, except for back streets with roundabouts and stuff like that. Disengage by pulling up on the stock and slow back down and go back. And it's overall just a really smooth car to drive every day. And then you can also have the sportiness when you need instant acceleration at any RPM. And one last cool feature here is how you don't have to really shift gears like a normal car where you have to stop, shift, even in a gas car that has the stock like this. It's not as clunky as an actual shifter down here, but in this car, since you've got the stock and you're not really shifting gears, you're just the motor's turning the other direction, you can do that. See that I'm coasting, and you just hit reverse and it'll coast back, and then you can roll back and you can sort of do this. I think you can go up to 5 miles an hour, and you can just hit drive and it goes back into drive, and it's super smooth to shift gears when you're backing out, and it makes it less clunky. Alright, so that was the driving experience, and now I'm going to go into some of the mods that we've done to the car and just stuff that I'd recommend getting. So one of the first things we did was get this cosmetic mod right here. It's a carbon fiber cap for the autopilot camera. It just kind of makes it look much cooler with the performance spec. And one other thing that we get that's really a good thing on all cars if you want to keep it nice is front PPF. You can sort of see the line right here, but it's just covering the whole front of the car. And that's going to help prevent rock chips because this flat front really does attract rocks and mosquitoes and such. As you can see just from the little driving I've done, there's already some stuff on there. And then one thing we realized, but too late, was the PPF for this back section right here. You can actually see it right here. The line, it's basically a section of PPF that's on the car because the front wheels kick up a lot of rocks up there, and having this really protects your paint. We already had some damage done, but hopefully it'll prevent further damage. They updated all the Model Ys now where they come like this from the factory because I think there was a class action lawsuit because it really did damage the paint. And I wouldn't really consider this a mod, but it's just a sticker of the Road America track that we went to. And inside here you can see floor mats. I'm not exactly sure what brand he got, but they fit pretty well. Definitely a necessity. So the other thing on the inside here is this carbon fiber wrap on the inside, and it used to be the gloss black. They got rid of that now, but back then it was still gloss black, so I had to wrap it in carbon fiber, and it just covers up all that nasty gloss black. So over the 16,000 miles, in terms of maintenance, of course you shouldn't expect much maintenance within 16,000 miles of any car, but we did have the typical Tesla quality control issues that are continuing to improve as we go through time. But this was also one of the first models of it. We didn't have too bad But we had some service appointments that I had shown in my previous video, and the only thing that really came up after that video was the steering wheel adjustment stopped working, and they thought it was a bad motor, but then they had their engineers take a look at it, and they were able to actually fix it with software. Something was just wrong, but it works now, and that was the only other thing we had. And of course, the big one with wear that everyone worries about is the white interior. This is a pretty controversial option with Teslas. Pretty much everyone agrees that it looks way better, and it just super matches the car from the inside and the outside. But everyone's worried about the wear, so I'm going to go over what it looks like, and I'm going to attempt to clean it. So the white trim on the door panels is all pretty much perfect, which you should expect that. People don't really rest their arm that much on the actual white. It's mostly just on the rest, which is black. Of course, gloss black. Again, they fixed this on the newer ones, but not good. Same with this dash. No one really touches it, so that white is totally fine. Now the seats. So obviously the driver's seat is going to be the worst out of all of them. I'm going to go over the other ones and then I'll show you the driver's seat. So hopefully some of this comes across on camera, but here is the back row. We do have passengers in the back, not all the time, but we do go as a family and we do sit in here. Basically brand new looking. We did have a few things, and the Magic Eraser works really well for a quick scuff or mark that gets on it. You can also use soap, but we have a Magic Eraser. You can see there's a few ripples right here. That would be the only thing I could really note. The edges are basically perfect, so the back row looks really good. Stuff does get in these cracks, but you kind of just have to wash it, take your finger and run it through it if you need to clean that. So here is the next most used seat, which is the passenger. And it also looks close to brand new here. There's not too much wear. Maybe there's like a little mark right there. Few marks around. We're going to try to clean this one too, but basically perfect. They're holding up really well. Generally, people do say that these white seats hold up really well, even with kids. You just have to kind of take care of them. And finally here, the driver's seat. Hopefully you can see some of this. We've got some marks here, a bunch of marks in this back corner, and also on the passenger seat. Couldn't get it from that side. There's a little mark on the side there. And then the big one with the white seats that sometimes can't be removable, but we're going to try, is right here. You can see the rippling. Also from jeans, they tend to rub off a little bit more on this. But all this, I'm going to grab our Magic Eraser and just see how this comes off. Alright, so I got most of the marks off. Now I'm going to go grab a towel and just wipe it off with water since it's got a little bit of dirty hands. But basically all of them came right off. Just takes a little bit of time to just really work at it with the Magic Eraser. Alright, so you can see after all that cleaning, basically brand new, other than these streaks, which are very faint, but the actual marks on the seat are gone with the Magic Eraser, and these white seats do look great though. Now that's all the physical wear and things that have gone on with the car over the 16,000 miles. Now there's one more thing with Teslas that does change over time, and that's the software. So we've gotten many updates with new games, the bigger full self-driving visualization, and the rear view camera, side cameras, the dash cam viewer. All that stuff was updated in the time that we had the car. But the updates were a bit of a disappointment because we're still missing some big features that have been promised and haven't gotten to this car yet. So if you've seen the new Model S refresh, you'll see that new software in that car, kind of codenamed version 11. Which this car doesn't have. It's got the customizable screen where you can move things where you want. You can adjust their size. A lot of people really want that. This car doesn't have a Pinnacle dash, so they're going to probably force you to keep your speed and stuff, but at least you'll be able to adjust everything else. And along with that, we hope they maybe come out with a 360 camera, like I mentioned earlier, where it's got the visualization over and not just the sensors. It's got the actual camera view like a lot of other cars. And the big one that we're waiting for is track mode for this car. It's a bit of a mystery. It was talked about, I think, last year. He tweeted to somebody saying that they could add track mode to this car, just like the Model 3 Performance, but it still hasn't came, and it's really cool. There's also some footage of it here, but it allows you to see the G-force and all the motor temperatures, and the big one is it allows you to adjust the car from full rear-wheel drive to full front-wheel drive, and the stability control and all that. It makes it super fun on the track. It lets you record your laps, all that stuff. It's super cool, and it's one of the perks of buying a performance Tesla, but it's not on this Model Y yet. So I really want that to come. And so before I have my dad come in here and just give his opinion on his ownership so far, I'm going to go over what kind of things they've updated on the new Model Y that we don't have. So there wasn't too many huge features that we missed out on, but there's a couple ones that do make a big difference that was kind of sucked that we missed. So the first one was a heated steering wheel. This does not have a heated steering wheel. It's really weird. They kind of intended to put it in, but the first ones didn't get it, and then soon after they updated it to have heated steering wheel. The next one was the updated center console and the removal of the gloss black. I'll show some footage of it, but it's a new center console with an open Alcantara phone spot, and then it's got just a normal slider instead of the funky doors that yell at you if you're too angry with them. And then the side buttons also, I believe, are not gloss black on the new one, and they've got some different logos for the doors because people get confused and they pull the emergency latch on accident, so it's nice to have a little bit of a door icon so people know how to get out. And I talked about it earlier, but it comes with the PPF from the factory now. And then, of course, since we bought it right away, the tow hitch wasn't an option when we bought it, and the 7 seats wasn't an option. He doesn't need the 7 seats, but actually one of my neighbors got a 7-seat Model Y super recently that had all the new stuff I just talked about. And it does fit kids. I was able to get in there. I just had to tilt my head, of course. It's really, really for small people, but great if you have kids to have a smaller car like this with that many seats. So obviously I haven't been the one that's actually owned and driven the car over this year, and so it's better to ask my dad here, who's obviously been the one that's driven it for about a year, and ask him whether it was worth it and what things he liked about it.
Yeah, as far as finally making the decision to go into a Tesla, it has been an awesome experience. The biggest thing that I've noticed is the direct drive option. Love, not having a transmission anymore, and the speed, obviously, that it has behind it. As far as driving in the summer, through the fall into the winter, it's just been a great experience all around. I did put winter tires on this winter, and it turned out to be fantastic. I always harken back to it's like a snowmobile. I mean, the thing is just awesome. As far as comments I've gotten from people that have ridden with me too, they all love the spaciousness of it. Love the ride height of where we're at, and I love that aspect too. Came out of a Mercedes CLS 550, so lower to the ground, very obviously a performance type car, and I have not looked back. So it's been a phenomenal experience. I would highly recommend going after a Tesla Model Y for sure. I'm curious to see how the Cybertruck comes out, because that might be on my radar in the future. But this car I would highly recommend. And as far as having the 280 miles of range, that has not been an issue in the least bit. Done a couple of road trips now. We're going to go on one this week coming up, and it's great. So I'd highly recommend the Model Y, and I would do a performance.
So that was my review of the Model Y Performance. We were one of the first people to buy it in Minnesota, and it's been around 14 months since that first video of the delivery, and it's been great, as he said. If you have any further questions about our experience, you can leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to try to answer them for you. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Gav321 out. Bye.